the light from the sun actually really brings out the rain. So if you can shoot into the sun, then I highly recommend doing that. Oh, the rain is getting horrific now. Look at this. Look at this. So first things first, when you go out in the rain, you're going to want to make sure you've got appropriate equipment on. And so for example, I've got my waterproof coat on, and I've also got water repellent trousers, some very inappropriate shoes, but I'm going to be changing them once I get in my car because my boots are there, and also my really cheap vlogging setup, which is obviously my Google Pixel 2, but actually in this weather it's ideal because it's waterproof. Also, the camera I'm using, Canon 7D Mark II, is also weather sealed, so that is also going to be okay. But extra protection, I'm bringing this, not because it's camouflage, but just because it's another waterproof layer which I can just wrap around my camera when I'm outside. Anyway, enough talking, let's get out there. Would you believe it? Just arrived and it stopped raining. Yeah, the one good thing about the sun just coming out and it stopped raining is that I now know where the sun is. It's currently up here, which is very useful to know when you're trying to photograph or trying to get rain in your photos. Yeah, with any luck the rain will come back because I've come out and it's dry. Okay, I can actually feel the rain. Yeah, it's starting to come down now. It's coming down quite... Oh! So the rain is back. I was on my way to get set up anyway, just in case. So the swans are here. Let's get to the lake and I'll get back to you then. It stopped raining again and the sun has come out, but I've positioned myself so that the sun is... I'm pointing the camera into the sun, so that essentially I'm going to be backlighting anything I'm taking photos of. When trying to photograph rain, is if you have it backlit, it will tend to show up a lot more in the photo. Yeah, we just need that rain to come back. It seems to be on and off at the minute, so I need to get set up, get the tripod out, get the camera on it, and so that the next time the rain comes, I could just get the photos. This is typical really. On a normal day when you come out to do wildlife photography, it would be the complete opposite. It would be you come out in a nice sunny day and then it would just start pouring with rain. Today I've gone out in the rain and the sun's come out and now it's just like a really nice day. So as to whether or not I'm going to get this rain photography video off today or not, don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna hang around for a bit and see what happens. Just hopefully the rain will come out, which is a weird thing to want to happen, but yeah. So I got the camera set up on the tripod down here. If it starts raining, I'm going to get closer to the lake, because initially what the swans do whenever I come here is when I go right up to the lake, they will come and investigate me, and then they'll go off and do their own thing. So I don't want to get right up close to the lake straight away, because they'll do that and then they'll get bored. But yeah, here it is. I'll show you. Got my camera here on my really tacky tripod, which isn't that great, and there's the lake there. Got the swan. There's a swan over there, but there's another one there, but as you can probably tell, the sun is blinding right now. Okay, yeah, the sun is just getting brighter and brighter, and I think the rain actually is just gone for the rest of today. Let's fast forward to another day. Yeah, there's plenty of rain today. We just need now the subjects to be able to photograph. So these two geese have literally just come and sat right next to me. They're totally unfazed, they're just preening away right in front of me. It's given me the perfect opportunity to get some shots in the rain. It's brilliant. Their buddies just arrived, they're flying over to meet them. Alright, I'm still here and I've got on the other side of the geese, so they are now backlit, or frontlit, confused. I'm pointing into the sun and I'm getting some really lovely shots. I'm just playing around with the shutter speeds. I'm mostly doing a high shutter speed of about 800 to 250, and basically that's just to capture the rain as it's falling. And basically what I'm doing is, because the geese are feeding at the minute on the grass, I am waiting for them to pop their head up, and as they do that, they lift their head, obviously they lift their head up, and behind them I basically position myself so that the backdrop is a dark background, and then again, if you've got a light background, you won't capture the rain. I'm sorry, it is torrential rain right now, I'm really struggling. But yeah. Dry the camera. It's working, he says. Yep, it is working. Here are a few of the photos. Yeah, there's a heron. That's cool. And that does not look good on the phone. But there we go. My hair is drenched. My coat, the worst thing is that my feet, my shoes are completely soaked, and wet feet is just the worst thing ever. So I'm going to tell you a little bit more about how I've taken these photos. But first things first, a warm shower and a nice hot cup of tea, and I'll get back to you. That's a lovely cup of tea, and it's nice to be back in the warm. Okay, yeah, so I'm using this mic. As you probably have already figured out, that in the video my audio just, it was gone. It was so windy, and by the end of it I think water had gotten in on the mic and just my voice was completely muffled out. I'm not sure as to whether or not the sound on my phone has completely broken or what yet, but hopefully it will dry out and everything will be okay. So when photographing the rain, it's really important to get your subject backlit, because this really helps with bringing out the rain in your photographs. And the challenge that I had today with that, in fact, was being able to find the sun. Now, on most occasions you probably wouldn't struggle with this. However, today it was so overcast that the sun was completely blocked out by the clouds, and I couldn't make it out no matter where I looked in the sky. So I had to just kind of play around and find the best angle. But also what helps is if you've got a dark background when you're photographing your subjects, that really helps pull out the lighter rain. But yeah, anyway, with rain photography, let's get back to the basics. So as you would have seen, I was carrying my tripod, had my camera with my tripod, and this is quite important if you want to get, well, there's two different types of rain photography. There's one where you get that nice blurry rain. It's sort of like a trail of rain, and you can see one drop basically traveling through the frame. And this is when you have a slow shutter speed. So a shutter speed of say 1/80th or 100th or something slow. And the purpose of the tripod here is just stop motion blur, because if you're trying to do this freehand, you are not going to get a sharp image. So for example, if you're taking an image of the goose like I was, and you're doing that freehand at 1/80th of a second on your shutter speed, you're going to get a blurry image, and obviously we don't want that. Secondly, try and get as low as you can with the wildlife. So try and get down to eye level, and this will help you get that depth of field and be able to get the background that you need in order to pull out the rain. So the second type of rain photography is where you use a high shutter speed, and this is capturing the rain in movement, a bit like when you're doing bird photography and you use a high shutter speed to capture the movement of the bird flying through the sky. So when you're using a high shutter speed, which is personally probably my favorite type, you are less inclined to use a tripod. However, it can still obviously benefit you to use a tripod. I found with my tripod, I can't get low enough, so a lot of these photos that you've been seeing, they're not quite as low as I would like them to be. However, today I just didn't want to lay down, so I kept it on the tripod and kept it as low as I could on the tripod. And I was just messing around with the shutter speed to see what kind of different effects I can get. So that's another thing I recommend. Just play around. Don't just take one photograph of an animal at one angle. Take hundreds if needs be, and try it at varying angles, varying different backdrops, and varying different shutter speeds. Okay, and the other thing, obviously, if you're shooting out in the rain, make sure you've got the appropriate attire, equipment. For me, my camera is weather resistant, weather sealed, so it should be okay in the rain. However, it did get to a point where it was torrential downpour, and I was kind of worried about my camera. But like you saw, I did bring the camouflage waterproof plastic thing, which I put over my camera just to give that added protection. And I would recommend doing that either way, whether or not you've got water resistant equipment or not, just to make sure that it's going to be okay. Also, ideally, get some shoes that are waterproof, get some trousers and a coat that's waterproof, because my feet, by the end of that, were drenched. And I was in boots that are supposed to be waterproof. However, they're a few years old now, and I think the waterproofing has gone. Well, it has gone. So yeah, if you personally, I don't mind if I am, but to be honest, it's still better to make sure you get the proper equipment, because if you want to be out there for long periods of time, and you're getting wet, you're going to get very cold, and you just won't be able to do it. You'll have to leave early, and then you might miss out on some of the wildlife. So yeah, it was pretty cool. If you are actually doing rain photography in a controlled situation, or on something that isn't wildlife, for example, you can use some form of external light. And just if you're taking a photograph of a object, for example, outside, you can simply just get a light and put it behind the subject and then shoot into it, and you'll see that the rain is coming out. And if it's not raining, you can use artificial rain and create the rain yourself from just a hose, a sprinkler, one of those gardening sprinkler cans, and it just looks like rain anyway. So you can do that even when it's not raining, which is pretty cool. That's a pretty cool tip. I haven't properly looked at my photographs yet, but hopefully, I'm sure you've seen them by now. Hopefully some of them were acceptable, and hopefully in some of them you could see the rain. But yeah, aside from that, thank you very much for watching, and subscribe if you liked it. If you didn't, leave a dislike, and I'll see you in the next video.